Hi guys, so I just wanted to quickly show you how I knit because I've been getting a lot of questions about it from a few videos I've seen or I've shown of me knitting. I will redo this when I have a white background at home, but I'm at college, so I'm gonna use what I got. So I hope you can see the stitches and everything. And so I am technically a English flicker, if you know what that is. So it's kind of like the continental way of knitting for English. You don't let go of the yarn. And so here I'll kind of show you how I hold the needle. So I've always been told flickers should hold the needle in between the joint on their middle finger and then meet that with your thumb so that you can move it. But when I end up, and then I hold the yarn so it goes over your index finger and then down through your pinky. And so if you could see, you hold that joint and then you can move the needle like this. I always end up kind of hugging it like that with my other finger as well. I don't know why, it just ends up becoming like right next to the whole joint instead of just one spot. I kind of hug it. And so then when you see me knit, you basically go in as if to knit like normal. You like, what's it called? Straighten the middle finger out, but when you do that, so when you're holding it and you do that, the needle, as you easily see, will pivot. And so you have your middle finger in, and then you stretch it out, it pivots, and so then you're able to go around the yarn. So you basically extend your middle finger, it pivots it, but then you use your index finger to wrap at the same time around the yarn. So pivot, around, knit. Extend your middle finger, wrap it around, knit. So you do that, and then you can see how I do it. I can get going pretty fast, and it's basically just doing two motions at the same time. So extending and wrapping, extending and wrapping. Extend, wrap around, knit. So I know I've seen a couple flickers where they hold the yarn backwards to wrap it around. I always find it's easier to go over the index finger. I don't know why, but for me, that's how I learned. And then yeah, so that's just knitting. This is such a weird video. Okay. But purling is kind of the same thing. So again, you hold the needle the exact same way, except now the yarn's in the front, and so I end up having my right hand being kind of in front of the work instead of like normal like it is knitting. So then all I do is the exact same thing, and I can knit at the same speed. So you go in as a support, extend your middle finger, which allows you the needle to go back, and then wrap it around. Wrap around. Then when I knit, it's kind of that exact same thing. So my hands are at different angles because my right hand is in front of the working piece. And then if you want to speed up the way you knit even more, if you see how I have a lot of the needle come out and then wrap around, I'm pretty far away from the work. And so if you go closer, obviously the faster you can knit, but I always find my gauge is a lot nicer when I have more needle to work with. And so here I'm knitting again, and obviously this works with any type of needle, but I always find nickel plated, and I use the Knit Picks nickel plated needles. Allow me just to knit faster because the yarn slides faster, so I could keep up with how fast I knit. But I don't really knit that fast. nipples, but yeah. So that's kind of how I knit. I hope that's a good explanation for you. But and I always find with this way of knitting, your gauge is a lot, like once you get used to it and have your rhythm down, my gauge is so much more even than when I would throw. Because the yarn is the same tension all the time and I don't have to readjust tension every single time I knit a stitch. Obviously I'm purling now. So yeah. And then if I come back on this side, when you're knitting, I always recommend scrunching up the needles, the stitches as much as you can, because then you can keep up with how fast you're gonna knit. Now I'm nervous, I can't really knit that, but so then I'm using my ring finger on this hand and my thumb to move the stitches up as I go, but it yeah, so and that's how I knit.